Hello, Monica. You said good morning, Jessie and Monique. I'm not sure. Maybe you see Monique over on YouTube. Can you see who else is here? Or maybe you're just guessing that Monique is here as well. It's like I can't see who's here unless you say something. Um, I can on Instagram, but you're over on YouTube. So good morning, Monica. Um, oh my goodness, like things are kind of insane over here. And Monique is here. Here we go. Hello. So, um, prom is tomorrow. Prom is tomorrow. For those of you who don't know, oh, and now we have Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Um, I started off as a costume designer for theater and film, mainly theater, and I have a degree in that, and I ran the costume shop and did some of the costume designing for a university, Adelphi University, out in Long Island for several years before I met a boy in Jersey and fell in love and moved out here. Adelphi's on Long Island, which is past Queens in New York, so just outside of New York City. So it's kind of, Long Island is also where the Hamptons are. The Hamptons are on the very end of Long Island. So there's the whole island, and then here's Queens, which is like geographically, Queens is at the beginning of Long Island, but Queens is Queens and Long Island is Long Island. It's not, you don't say you live in Long Island if you're in Queens. You live in Queens. If you're after Queens, then it's Long Island. So the boroughs of New York are not part of Long Island, even though two of them, I believe, are technically on Long Island. I mean, so anyway, yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. When I first lived in Queens, and I was in Long Island, and somebody asked me where I lived, and I said Long Island, and they said where, and I said Queens, and they said Queens is not Long Island. I'm like, but it's like literally on the same island. Like in Adelphi University is like 2 miles past where Queens ends, right? So it's 2 miles outside of Queens, and like I would drive from Queens Village, which was like just before, like literally, like it's like if this is the line between Queens and Long Island, like I lived like maybe a mile or two on one side of it, and the university was like a mile or two on the other side of it. um and even though like there wasn't any sort of land, anything dividing it, it was all on the same island. Queens is not Long Island. So there's your little New Yorker tip for the day. Anyway, so I was working out there when I met a Jersey boy and fell in love and moved to Jersey and got married and had kids. I really think I'm frozen over on yeah, I seem to be frozen on Instagram, and I'm not sure why, because I only have 3 tabs open. I have the StreamYard tab, I have the Instagram tab, which I have to have open in order to see the comments, and I have Crochet Foundry's site open in case I need to, like, hit this little button and like share stuff with you. That's it. But for some reason, I appear to be frozen. I'm going to type something and see if anyone can see me moving. Oh, wait. Okay, cool. I don't have to like say anything because somebody was nice enough to be paid to tell me. BBS Amazon or BB Amazon. I have no idea how BBS Amazon says I'm on IG and you're not frozen on my end. That is awesome. Cool. as long as you guys can see me moving, then all is good. On my end, I look to be frozen on Amazon, but if you guys say that I'm good, then I am a happy camper. So yeah, anyway, so for those of you who don't know, I used to be a costume designer. I have a degree in that. I ran the costume department for Adelphi University. I was their costume shop manager for several years, and I did some of their designing. Then I met a boy in Jersey, moved to Jersey, got married, had kids, and realized that I was not happy if I was not crafting, and that creating is part of my therapy, because I do live with anxiety and depression. And so, and when I wasn't creating, I started to get really, really depressed. And I realized that it was not creating that was doing it. When I first moved in with my husband, when we got our apartment, there was a second bedroom, which I had turned into my sewing studio. Um, and it was eventually going to be a nursery when we had kids, but but until then, it was a sewing studio, and I did lots of sewing for our medieval uh, uh, hobby. We do medieval reenactments. It's it's not Renaissance fair. It's not LARPing. It's not Civil War reenactments, but it's medieval reenactments. So even though you're not like reenacting a specific thing like they do with Civil War reenactments, it focuses more on the history of of medievalism, and it's not so much an audience based thing. So there's lots of arts and crafts in that. People care about if their garb is what they're wearing is true to the period, which is there's a very large range of time periods that are acceptable. um but people care whether or not you're accurate with that. I mean, there are people who focus more on it and focus less on it, and it's nice when people are accepting of, okay, this person is really trying to be true to period. This person is just here having fun and isn't so concerned. So it's nice when people give everybody their space to you know do do whatever makes them happy. But in addition to like the combat stuff, which is what my husband does, there's heavy weapons fighting, which is supposed to be like swords. And there's fencing, and there's archery, and there's thrown weapons. There's all sorts of combat-y stuff. And then there's also all sorts of arts and crafts. So there's people who do mead making, and there's people who do garb, and people who do jewelry and metalsmithing and woodworking. My very first time I went on, there's a big thing every summer. It's called the SCA. And there's a big thing every summer called Pensick that's 2 weeks long in Pennsylvania. That is a whole like camping trip. And we are like 12,000-ish people, literally are considered a city for the 2 weeks that we're there in Pennsylvania. And my very first one, I took a class on making a Viking loom, a Viking like standing loom. And we made it. It was actually the class, they have like a whole little area where they teach classes, but then people sometimes have classes in their camp. This class was in this person's camp, because like everything was Viking period. Like the tools you used to make the Viking loom were Viking period. And the Viking loom is literally, it's like 5 pieces of wood, because there's the 2 poles that go up that were actually purchased spindles. He didn't like, from like cribs or stairs or whatever. But we learned about how we saw a Viking lathe. He showed us how it was used and everything. There just wasn't time for everybody to, turn their own. And then they each had a little foot that we made. And so there were those two little like upside down T things, and then okay, 6 pieces, and then there's a piece that goes across closer to the bottom and a piece that goes across closer to the top, and you make like belts and stuff. So you run from, one end to the other end. You run your warp, and then your weft goes this way, and you can do like card weaving and stuff on there. Anyway, I am so getting off track, and Monique wants to know what's the difference between this and LARPing. LARPing is really about like, it's way more fantasy. There's not as much history at all, and it's just about like, it's it's more play. And I mean, I've never done it, but I don't know that there's any of like the education with it. It seems to be more about like live action. It's live action role playing. That's live action role play is what LARP stands for. Live action role playing. So it's like live action D&D kind of idea. It's not D&D, but it's live action role playing LARP. Whereas, yeah, it's Monique says sounds like role playing. Sarah says LARPing is usually associated with role playing world, whereas SCA is it's almost it's like when you go to one of those when you go to like a colonial village, right? And there's the people who are working there, who they're in character, they're in costume, they're in character, they're doing the different skills. You see them like, spinning their yarn or their thread, and making the blacksmiths, making the horseshoes and that sort of stuff. It's more like that, but not for an audience. And there's, like I said, there's lots of education there, lots of classes that you can take, and it's tons of fun. So that's where I started. Everything was as a costume designer, and my husband was into the medieval stuff, and we and I did the costumey stuff because I originally was a costume designer until when I moved to Jersey to be with my husband. I had to leave my job in Long Island because that was just not a commute I was going to do. And one of us was going to have to leave their job because neither one of us wanted to commute to or through Manhattan. And I lost that conversation. So we ended up in New Jersey. And there wasn't there's one job at not even every single university. There's one costume manager position at every university that has a theater department with a costume shop that needs a costume manager. Okay, so and when somebody gets that job, they basically stay in it until they retire. It is very rare for somebody to be a costume manager and not stay in it until they either die or they retire. Um, I I think I'm the only person I know who's ever had a costume shop manager position who hasn't stayed there until they died or retired. And I've known quite a few people who have been costume shop managers. So yeah, I got married, and that's what had me leaving. Um, but I couldn't. There wasn't anywhere near where my husband was working. There was not another position open. There's so few and far between. There wasn't another position open, so that's why I ended up jobless, right? And then I did some odds and ends things, and then when we had kids, the room that was my sewing room turned into the nursery and everything, and somewhere along the line, Jessie at Home happened, and I started doing the knitting and crocheting. I've always crocheted, and I had learned to knit a little while after. I learned to knit a little bit before the kids were born. I learned to knit once when I was 14, and then never really picked it up again until about a year before the kids were born. Actually, maybe a little longer, right around the time that I got married, I think. Um, So yeah, so anyway, I sew. That's what that last 15 minutes was about. I sew a lot, like, and so I can make patterns and everything. So somehow I had told my daughter that I would make her prom outfit. Like, she had given me this really cool dress idea last year, showing me this picture, and I was like, cool, we can do that, right? So then I kept trying to get her to give me the sketch and everything. I finally got, like, a month ago. We were all ready to get going, and she was like, "Oh, but I changed my mind. I don't want to do that one anymore." So I was like, "Okay, well, I need a sketch. I can't make you a pattern without a sketch, right?" And so, yeah, long story short, too late. I'm making Kyla's prom outfit. Promise tomorrow. And I started sewing like a week ago. Not even. So I think this weekend was when we went and bought fabric. Anyway, here is the new sketch, and there is a color one, but I think it's on my phone, and my phone is upstairs. So here is the sketch of Kyla's prom outfit, right? So the shirt has those fun little sleeves. The vest, the thing over top, is a vest. Okay, so the sleeves are part of the shirt. And we are giving the shirt a mandarin collar, which is when it's got the stand-up part of the collar, but not the fold-over. So even though you see the fold-over in that picture, that's not what we're doing. It has a mandarin collar, and the little ruffly sleeves, and then that vest with the cool hangy back with the pull thing, the little cincher in the back, and basically like straight leg pants. So for the fabric, we have, for the shirt, I have this white crepe, right? And I have some silver thread that I use to do the hand stitching on the little hem of the sleeves right here. All right. And you'll see pictures of all of this next week. All right. There'll be lots of pictures. So we have the white crepe for the shirt, and then for the pants we have just a black crepe. Okay. And that'll be the pants. And then for the jacket is this, it's I don't know if it's my screen or my camera, because my screen is not usually yellow, but everything is yellowed here, so this looks like a rust, a burnt orange almost on the camera. Hopefully it's just my screen, but I'm not entirely sure, because like I said, normally the colors are good, so it might be the camera. This is really more of a burgundy wine kind of color. And again, when I do photos, you'll get a better look, hopefully. And so this is the vest, and then this is the lining for the vest, which is super cool, right? It's this black with the silver leaf applique here, the silver leaf, not applique, embroidery. So that's the lining for the vest, which of course you see because of the way it's got the cutaway on it, right? So, okay, so you guys are, here we have, Monique asked what it looks like. Yes, crazy sewing tonight. It is a really cool design. And it does look like a burnt orange to you guys. Okay, I'm going to need to figure out how I can adjust. The camera that I have is, I only put it up a couple weeks ago, and as soon as I did, I noticed that it was yellowy when I have my meetings with you guys. So I need to see if I can figure out how to adjust the color from the camera, because it's the camera. When I use the other camera, it doesn't yellow like that. Yeah, the fabric is really cool, definitely. So there you go. That is what I've been making. So I have made, the shirt is made, only I need to attach the ruffly part of the sleeves, because I had made the shirt and haven't attached the bottom part of the sleeve yet, because I was hand stitching the hem on that with the silver thread to do, making a really pretty little hem on it. And I have to do the buttonholes on it. So I just, the hem on the sleeves is done already. I need to attach the sleeves and sew and make the buttonholes. Um, and then the pattern for the pants is on my table right now. So I need to cut out the pants, and I think I'll give her some pockets. Um, and the vest, I have the lining done. I have the outer part done. I need to put them together and then do all of the facing and the collar and the finishing and the buttonholes. And today, when she gets home, we're going to run over to Yarnia, or the local yarn shop, to buy buttons for the vest, because Yarnia has really, really cool buttons. And we were planning on going yesterday, and then I remembered like an hour before she got home from school that Tuesday is the day that Yarnia closes. They're open 6 days a week. Tuesday is the one day they're not open. Um, Yes, prom is tomorrow, Susan. Um, so we obviously weren't able to go yesterday to buy the buttons, but we're gonna run over to Yarnia and buy buttons for the vest today. We could probably get buttons at Michael's, which is a little closer than Yarnia, but I'd rather give Yarnia my money. And I don't know. I just like, we'll go to Yarnia first. If they don't have buttons that we like, we'll go to Michael's. But honestly, I think we'll have a lot more luck over at Yarnia. And I do have like tins and bags and tons of buttons, but there just weren't. We need 3, and there was not a set of 3 buttons that we liked. That was a nice, decent size. And then also, I think it would be nice to, if we got like the 3 buttons. It needs. I know she drew 4 buttons, but there's really only three buttons here. But it would be nice to do something on either side of the little of the cinch on the back. So either the same button or a smaller version of the button. But I think that would be really cool too. All right, so that is the prom outfit that, prom is tomorrow night at 7. Speaking of 7, tonight from 7 to 9 is our sit and stitch that is open to everybody. And right now, my newsletter, the program I use to send out the newsletters, is not working because I had not really, Susan. That must really be a thing, sewing the prom dress the day before. It's like going Christmas shopping the night before, right? But I have a degree in this shit. So I mean, trust me, I've made a Cinderella costume in a day. I can finish the prom outfit. It's not really. I know you guys are like, oh my God, that's so much to do. But I'm like, dude, I have done so much more than that in like, a like 20-hour work day when I used to run the costume department. That was a lot of work days, a lot of long work days there. Yeah. So anyway, um, brain fart. Oh, so yeah, tonight. Let's see. She's probably gonna be the only kid at prom whose mom made her an amazing prom dress. I sure hope that everybody loves it. I know who you are. I know I can't. I'm having brain fry. BBS Amazon. I know who you are. You're somebody I know, or who's here all the time, and I'm having serious brain fry as to remembering who you are. Maybe it's just your screen name that I just know because I see it all the time. But I feel like you're somebody like one of my designers or something. I don't know. You can tell me if you want to, or you can let me suffer. Either way. Yeah, I think it is going to be beautiful. I'm really excited to show y'all photos. And it's not within reach, but there is going to be a review of, there's a book that I used on sewing your own dresses and everything. While I didn't need the education in it. It was a book that I was sent to review. And one of the really cool things is in the back of the book, they have slopers, which are like the generic patterns for each of the different sizes, where it's just like a fitted top with long sleeves and a fitted pencil skirt, a fitted like straight skirt, and then and it's in like there's I want to say like 14 to 20 different sizes. It's a huge range of sizes, which is awesome. So there's like a bunch of different, it's, you have to trace out the pattern because all the patterns are kind of on top of each other and you just go with whatever color. Um, and so I used that for the base pattern. And then from there for the shirt and the vest, and then I altered that, which is quicker than having to start off making my own base pattern. So that was definitely helpful as well. Especially since I don't have like if I had a dress form that was like exactly her size, I could have like draped it on there and everything, but also I had the book that I wanted to review. So that review will be over on Jessie at Home. So if you do so, that book is flipping amazing. You're gonna love it if you want to learn about making your own dresses and alterations and stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, so we've got the prom dress going, and then as soon as that is done, I'm going to be getting in touch with all of the people who I was supposed to get in touch with after H&H. So I have a whole bunch of people to contact for that, to come up with. We'll schedule guests to come to these. We'll do some collabs, some reviews, all sorts of really, really fun things. Monique, I would not, it's, if you don't, you do need to know how to sew already. And it's a good idea to know how to use a pattern. What it is, it's a book about making your own dress pattern. So like I said, in the back of the book there's a envelope with the patterns that are just, it's a, a like a quarter front. Okay, so you double it, obviously. So it's a quarter front with the darts, the quarter back with the dart, and the long sleeve, and they're all made to be fitted, and the fitted skirt. So there's darts on the top, and then goes down straight, like right about knee length, just above the knee, I think. And those are what are called slopers, which are kind of like a generic pattern, fitted pattern per size. Slopers also usually will include a pair of pants, but because this book is about dresses, this set of slopers does not have pants, which is why it's not something that I would consider a strike against it, because the book is about making dresses. So why would they have a pants sloper in there, right? And so they give you that, which is in itself worth more than the cost of the book. I feel like the book's like $20 American. But in itself, like I would have easily paid $50 for a set of slopers, even without the pants. I would have been so happy with that. I mean, I'll pay $25 just to get a set of pants slopers so that I don't have to make them. Like I can make them, and I have made them. When I worked at Adelphi University, they didn't have a really nice set of slopers, so I made a set of slopers. But it takes a bit. So it's nice to have that. And there so what the book does is it tells you how to take those slopers and how to make them into a dress of your choosing. So it goes through like how to adjust the sleeves to make like this kind of sleeve, the straight sleeve to make a bell sleeve, to make a ruffly sleeve, how to adjust the top to give it the different shapes that you want, the different necklines that you want, how to add a collar to it, how to adjust the skirt to make it an A-line skirt, or shorter, longer, more fitted, less fitted, whatever. Like it gives you all of these different techniques to use to take that sloper pattern and turn it into the dress you want to make. So with that in mind, I would say you want to already know how to sew, and how to read a pattern. So it wouldn't be a book for a beginner seamstress or stitcher, a beginner sewist, I think is what we're going with now, a beginner sewist. It would be a book for beginning sewing designer, fashion designer, whatever. There must be a connection between sewing design and crochet design. There is. There's a huge connection, and I was really into musical theater and children's theater, and you can see that in my designs. My crochet and knit designs are very much influenced by my costume design history. And it's the funny thing is, like, there'll be other people who, like, I really love their stuff, and like some of my designers that I have on Crochet Foundry, Joanne Fowler, has a very theatrical sense to her designs, and Rachel Field was also used to be a costume designer, a theatrical costume designer, and her stuff always really speaks to me. And it's so funny because there are these people who are doing these theatrical costumes, or used theatrical designs, or used to be, theater costume designers. It's really fun. It's very interesting. All right, let's see. Oh, I was checking to see if there's any more comments over here on Instagram. Nope, we're doing good. So yeah, so after once I have the prom thing done, I'm gonna get in touch with the people from H&H that I need to get in touch with, and I'm really looking forward to a lot of those things. Connection between design of costumes and the theatrical crochet designs, definitely. So yeah, there's some great yarn companies we're gonna start working with. I'll also make sure to get the Knit the Rainbow pride flag designs going. I want to get on that right away. So maybe like we can at least start the outreach during Pride Month, because I think that's a good month to, like, be doing the outreach to start it at least. And yeah, different there are some designers that we're going to have probably come on, more of the yarn artists that will hopefully come on to these lunchtime lives. I have a really lovely woman from, I'm sorry, I cannot remember where in Africa she's from, and but she had reached out to me right before H&H about doing an article, writing an article about crochet and health, mental health. And here, I'm gonna see if I can open my email, and, or you know what, I'll give you that next week. She's doing an article about crochet and mental health, and she has a and that'll be for the fall or winter, I can't remember which one, we might not have decided yet, issue. And she has a poll that she's sending out that people can fill out, or not so much more of a survey. Sorry, poll usually is like one question with a set of answers or whatever. More of a survey she's sending out. I guess a poll doesn't have to be one question with a set of answers to choose from. But anyway, I believe the proper term would actually be a survey. That you guys, I'll give you the link next week, and you guys can fill it out and everything. And it's, yeah, we're really excited about it. And it turned out that she was going to be at H&H, so I got to actually meet her at H&H, which was lovely. She's an amazing lady. I think she splits her time between here and Africa. I know she does some stuff in Africa still too, and she is like, she's not just like African race, she's from Africa, African. And I want to say Nigeria, but I don't know if I want to say Nigeria, because almost all of the people I know who came to America from Africa themselves came from Nigeria. And so I might be wanting to say Nigeria because that's where so many people I know are from, and I might be wrong. So that might not be the right answer. I'm not really sure. And I know Africa's a huge country, a huge continent. It's with lots of countries. So, yeah, we'll have all the correct answers for you. And she is going to come and visit. We need to set that date. She's one of the people I need to get in touch with. Hopefully, she'll probably come twice, probably once really soon, hopefully next week or the week after. And then again after the article has come out. So she'll come once really soon. So she can talk to you more about what the article is going to be about and get you excited to fill out the survey. And then once after the article has come out, so then you can follow up and ask any additional questions or anything at that point after you've actually had a chance to read the article. So I'm really excited about that. And there's lots of other people I'm excited to have visit. I'm definitely going to have to reach out to Anna, who is the author of the Crochet Secrets book, and I'm sure you've seen tons of her videos, even if you don't realize it. And she is, you can see her last name, Leyzina. So you can always look her up. She's at The Naughty Boss. So The Naughty Boss, all is one word. Naughty is in Knotty. So at The Naughty Boss, that's what she is on Instagram. And once you go there, you'll be like, oh my gosh, yes, I've seen her stuff and she is so cool. Which is exactly like after I spent an entire evening with her. Somebody had brought her to the stitching night that we had. It was like a group of friends that like we'd all known each other for years, and then a few other people who had been brought along by some of the people. I'm not sure if I feel like maybe Britt and oh my God, Natalie, Britt from Not Bad Britt, and Natalie from Detroit Knots. I feel like maybe Britt and Natalie brought her, but I'm not entirely sure. And like, she and I just bonded and spent the evening talking, not even necessarily so much about crochet, but just life and such. And then she was like, oh, I have a book signing tomorrow. You should come. So I go to the book signing and I'm like, oh, that's who she is. Like, I had no idea. I'm like, wow, this is a really long line. Like, oh my God, that's who she is. It was really funny. So, yeah, she is a really cool human. I really, really like her as a person. And then I was really excited when I actually realized who she was as a crocheter, right? Sarah says that's very cool, and Monica says she loves the book, uses it all the time. It is an awesome, awesome book, and I got it signed. Wait, where'd it go? There's a signature in here somewhere. Jessie, happy crocheting, love Anna. Right? So anyway, so yeah, we'll be doing all sorts of fun things coming up. I'm just really looking forward to the fun things that will be coming up in the future here. And Rachel Weiss is here. Rachel Weiss, the amazing crochet designer, as opposed to Rachel Weiss, the actor. Hi, Rachel. She's leaping loops over on Instagram. So there's that. Oh, the other thing that I started to say, and then somebody asked a question and I answered it because, even though I don't have to stop what I'm doing and answer your question right away because, I'm in charge. They don't interrupt me or anything. I do it anyway because why the heck not? Somebody needs to interrupt me sometimes, even if it's myself. The newsletter, I know it wasn't out this weekend, and you're not going to be getting a reminder about the thing tonight because I went to do that and it said, we tried to charge your form of payment and it didn't work. We need a new form of payment. Give us the new form of payment and we will charge you the $1,700 for your annual fee. And the form of payment they had has been canceled. I thought I had moved everybody over to the new card. And it was a credit card. I thought I had moved everybody over to the business account. And I obviously missed my newsletter provider, but I don't currently have the $1,700 and I'm not currently using credit. So it might be a week or two before the newsletter. I mean, I'll figure it out. I should figure it out before this coming weekend. So that there will be a newsletter next week, but it also means that the reminder that you guys normally get comes from the newsletter provider as well. It's just because I'm not currently using credit. And everybody, when I stopped using credit and I moved everybody over to the business account, I wrote down like when the annual fees were, and so like, and I have the little schedule, so I know what to make sure. Oh, I need to have, $1,500 for this thing that's going to renew next month, or $300 for this thing that's going to renew next month, or whatever. Like, budget, that sort of stuff, right? But when I did all of that, I missed my newsletter provider, which is why they tried to charge a card that's been canceled, and why I don't happen to have the money in the account right now. So I hopefully will be able to figure that out this week, and get it, get that updated. So, one of the points here is, let me show you where to find the link. We are going to go over here. The sit and stitch. We can take Monica off, as much as I love what she's saying. All right. The sit and stitch is tonight from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, Eastern as in like New York City time. It is currently 12:41 Eastern, so almost 1 o'clock. So whatever time it's almost, add 6 hours to that. So right now here it is quarter till, or 20, right now it's 20 till 1 here. So add 6 hours to 1, and that's 7. So if where you are, it's 20 till 10 in the morning, you add 6 hours to that. That means 4, right? Yeah, 4 p.m. So it'll be at 4 p.m. your time. So just add 6 hours to 6 hours and 20 minutes, or 6 hours and 19 minutes from now, is when the sit and stitch is. And to get the link, and this is how you can always get your links, you go to crochetfoundry.com. If you are on a mobile device and you don't see this menu up here, there will be the little hamburger menu, those 3 lines over here. You click on it, and the navigation menu will drop down. You click on community, and then you go over. You can do sit and stitches, but the best way to do it is to click onto the event calendar. So you click on event calendar, and it'll bring up the calendar. There we go. I was like, dude, I just updated this. It better not be empty. And today is the 4th. So you see we have the lunch with the Foundry right now, and then at the Foundry evening sit and stitch. And you see how every other week we have an at the Foundry. There's an at the Foundry evening and an at the Foundry afternoon. The 1st and the 3rd Wednesday of the month, the 1st Wednesday of the month and the 3rd Wednesday of the month. The ones that say at the Foundry, those are open to everybody. The ones that say patron live and patron live. So the patron ones are for my Patreon patrons. So if you are a paid Patreon patron, you'll have access to those, because when you click on this, it'll give you the link to the post on Patreon. That will only work if you're a paid member. But on the at the Foundry ones, like today, you click on it, and it takes you here. It says register here, and that will be clickable. That's clickable. So if you can register if you're doing it early, and you'll get the reminders and everything. And if you're not doing it early, if like you're doing it right now for today, I believe it'll just give you the link. You'll get the join link definitely if you've already if the meeting has already started. Let's see what happens if I click it right now. Yeah, so you're going to put in your information, and it'll email you the join link. Okay. And you might still have to do that even if the meeting has already started. It might still give you this, where you just put in your first name, your last name, and your email, and it'll then email you the join link. I do not keep this information, so it does not automatically sign you up for anything other than the reminder to come to this meeting and getting the link to this meeting. If you feel like it has signed you up for anything else, please let me know, because it's not supposed to. The reason I do it this way as opposed to just giving you the link is because when you do it this way, this system will send you reminders. So if you register for things ahead of time, you'll get reminders from the Zoom registry system, okay, which is really nice and convenient, and also allows you to put it onto your calendar if you want to. However, oh, there we go. You can also put things onto your calendar through the event calendar that I now have. So there is your event calendar. That's how you find the links, even when I haven't that since the last time we looked at it. You can subscribe to the entire calendar if you want. Um, and I think I have everything through about the middle of August scheduled on the calendar. Um, I hit the next, no, maybe I didn't actually hit the next button. Okay. So here's July. I will when I have guests for lunch with the Foundry, I'll make sure to let you know. And when I start having other things, I'll let you know as well. I do eventually want to start doing some like live streams when from like studio time. Um, maybe one a week that will be crochet and or knit, and then one a week that will be any sort of craft. It could be crocheting or knitting, but it could also be sewing or paper crafting, making books, whatever. So I do want to get that going. I just need to get this prom dress done and do all of my contacts, get through all of my contacts for H&H, and then we should be really set going with we're really like in the groove of the pivot. Now that we've moved over to seasonal. We have a couple things. Monica says, "Oh, going to Michigan grandkids." Okay, that's fine, Monica. We'll miss you. We will definitely miss you, but grandkids is a good reason to miss the sit and stitch. Hopefully, a bunch of you, the rest of you, will be joining us there. I think I'm going to get going so that I can have some lunch. Don't forget, awesome book. Okay. And the Naughty Boss is her Instagram handle. So at the not at symbol the Naughty Boss, all is one word. There's no like underlines or dots or anything between them. It's just one word. THEKNOTTYBOSS. And awesome book, awesome human. You can feel good about giving her your money. Like I said, I'm going when you have to go buy some buttons today. We're going to the yarn shop, which is a little farther away than Michael's, but I know the people at the yarn shop, and I really like those people, and so I would rather give them my money than Michael's my money, even though I might end up spending a little bit more money, and I will definitely end up driving a little farther. I'm picky about who I work way too hard for my money to just give it to anybody, right? So I'm going to be spending my money with people. I want it to be good people, and definitely good human. All right, she is our kind of human. So yeah, I am super excited about all the upcoming stuff, and I will take lots of pictures of Kyla in her dress. She is taking a girl space friend. She is taking a friend of hers, who actually, her friend DG, who graduated last year, but DG never went to her prom. So it's really cool that she's now going to get to go to prom with Kyla. So she'll still get to go to prom at the high school, even though she didn't get to go when she was at the high school. So yeah, she graduated last year from the same high school as my daughter goes to, and they're just really they're good friends. So Kyla didn't have a date, and so she needed a friend to go with, and decided to ask DG to go, which is awesome because DG's a cool kid. All right. And that, I did that too. I took a friend to prom, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was so nice not to have to I could just have fun at prom and not worry that my date was going to be upset that I decided to, dance with this person or that person or whatever. And, I still spent most of the time with my date, with the person I brought with me. She didn't go to the school. So, I didn't want her to be stuck or anything, but, and, without anybody she knows or anything like that. But it was fun because we could hang out with she knew some of the other people at my school. We'd hang out with friends and just have a good time. And if I wanted to dance with somebody, I could dance with somebody. I didn't have to worry about any of the date stuff. Definitely don't have to worry about what your date is expecting after prom or any of that sort of stuff either, if you just bring a friend. So that is going to be super fun for her, to go with a friend. And then Vero is also going. He just hasn't made a big deal about it. I think he's just wearing a suit that he has, and going alone and meeting some other friends who are also going alone there. So he's way more low-key. He is very much like my brother, and Kyla is very much like me in their personalities, even though Vera looks more like me and Kyla looks more like her dad. But Vero is more like my brother, and I guess also kind of like my husband. And Kyla is definitely more like me. But all right, guys. I will see you in 7 hours and 9 minutes is the sit and stitch, and I hope to see a bunch of you there. I will probably be hand stitching buttonholes or something along those lines for Kyla's dress, for Kyla's prom outfit. And you all can be doing whatever crafts, whatever crocheting or knitting or any other craft you want to do. And I will, of course, be more than happy to answer any questions you have about crocheting or knitting or any other craft. I basically do lots of crafts. And I will see you then. And and the crochet along is going to really get going here this week. So you'll start seeing some of those posts on the Crochet Foundry blog and all of that coming up soon as well. So I will talk to you later. Thank you for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope to see a bunch of you later.